Special shout out to our sponsors, Kicking Cancer and SMI Property Management. For more information on SMI Property Management and their management services, go to smiproperty.com. And for more information on Kicking Cancer, go to kicking-cancer.org. Ta-da! Here we are live on Russ Reels Live this Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I know that I'm glad that you're here today for this amazing discussion we're going to have. You know, I'm really looking forward to this discussion. And even though I always have a positive idea and thought about what we're going to talk about, this subject can get a little bit heavier, dealing with people stuck in situations and things they're going through. And the guests that I have on today have gone through some real challenges of their own, but also are involved in supporting and lifting up, building community around them and helping others. And that's what I love about this group today. You know, I'm going to give you a little bit more information on our topic as we go, but I'm just going to leave that there for just a moment because I want to tell you a little bit more about this show and why I'm so glad you're here. This is Russ Reels Live, and we have a topic-driven panel discussion every week at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on all kinds of different subjects, whether it's surrounding marketing, which I deal with all the time, because I am your marketing coach and I help you market you, because a lot of people are stuck in their business at all their ends. When we're talking about getting stuck, they have troubles moving out of that and really rising above and differentiating themselves in their market. Well, I help you market you because you are the difference maker. You are the world changer in your arena, and you can make that difference today and be unstuck from the business challenges that come down on all of us. So today I want to encourage you to do that. And the best way to talk to me about that is to go to russhedge.com. I love to connect with people because I love people. So go to russhedge.com today, connect with me. I have all different kinds of ways. On my website, you can connect with me through social media. All the links are there. You can connect to me through email. You can connect to me on my phone, or you can even schedule time directly on my calendar. And I would love to get to know you, learn more about you, and find out what we have in common and what I can do to make your life better. And so if there's a way that I can support you, that's what I'm here for. And so, you know, my purpose or why in life is to help you live a purpose-driven life of significance. And I always, you know, sometimes people ask me, what do you mean by that? Well, I want you to be a world changer. I want you to be a difference maker. I want you to be able to get out there and do the amazing things God has created you to do. And you can do it today. You can get unstuck from whatever you're in. And whether that is just through business or life, or whether it's some kind of challenge you're going through physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever that is, there is a way out. There is light on the other side of the rainbow. So today I want to encourage you to actually move forward, get good community around you. And that's really our topic today. And I'll jump right into that. And that is, you know, a lot of times, no matter what's going on in life, and a lot of times it is physical or emotional or mental challenges, you know, just a mental mindset in life too, that we have a tough time breaking out of. Sometimes it's even deeper than that. But you know what? You get the right people around you, the right community, the right people that care, the right people that can help and support you, the right people that have the right kind of information. And sometimes it even requires medical information. We have a doctor on today. Dr. Nupi Arora is going to be with us. And that is so critical that you know where to go from that. And that's why you need good people around you, offering good advice, good support, and giving you a good direction in whatever you're going through. So we're going to talk about that today. I have, like I said, Dr. Nupi Arora with me today. I have Kristi Horner, I have Baron Robison, and I also have my good friend Tim Sohn, who is joining us today via video. And we're going to start with Tim today on the video, and then we're going to jump into my normal routine, which is ladies first, of Kristi on after that. But again, if there's anything I can do, please reach out, russhedge.com. All of the contact information for my fabulous guests will appear not only in the show notes, but also in the comments today during the show. And love to have you reach out to them as well. If you have a chance right now, please hit the share button. If you're watching live, hit the share button, share this out. If you're watching on replay, hit the share button, share it out. Let others know this is going to be amazing information today you do not want to miss. So share this out there. And if you'd be so kind, please subscribe on YouTube. That would be fabulous. The best way to do that, to get all the past content and upcoming content through YouTube, you go to marketingwithruss.live. That's all you got to do. It'll take you right to my YouTube page, marketingwithruss.live. And that would be fabulous. I would appreciate that. It would not only help our community grow with amazing people, but it would help you have the access to the library of great content and great guests I've had on Russ Reels Live, as well as Marketing with Russ and so many other things. So I did actually give you both of these links. Go to there, get my shows right. You also go to russreels.live. That takes you to YouTube too. Usually I use that link since we're doing Russ Reels Live today. But anyway, Russ Reels Live or Marketing with Russ .live will both take you to my YouTube page. So, okay, I think that's enough for me today. We're going to start off, get this show rolling, and I'm going to introduce you to my good friend, Tim Sohn. Let him tell you a little bit about himself, and let's just let Tim take this away. Here we go. So I'm here with my good friend, Tim Sohn, and Tim, you have really a unique perspective. Well, a lot of us have unique perspectives, but you have a special, unique perspective on this whole thought process of having challenges in life and just getting stuck in problems and a diagnosis in a mental or a physical issue in life, getting stuck in that as opposed to getting the kind of care and support and community to move beyond that. And that's really what I want to talk about, that there is hope beyond the initial challenges we have in life. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Russ. It's always great to be here with you and your amazing community. And what I would say in terms of getting unstuck is, find amazing communities like Russ's community, or communities where there's other. For example, I'm a almost 16-year cancer survivor, chronic myeloid leukemia. Find places where there's other people who have been in similar situations, who are cancer patients or survivors or supporters, or whatever situation you're going through. There's Facebook groups, there's shows, like I host the Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer show. And we're always happy to have people come over and join us. And we have conversations there with people about their personal journeys. But the number one thing I would say is find people that can support you and show up for you, and who have been on a similar journey as you.
Yeah, and I love that because you have such a positive perspective. And we have both had our challenges, whether it's been with my mama and my dad passing away and my mom having cancer. We talked about that. Yes, thank you. Love you too.
Yeah.
And also, my current diagnosis of having skin cancer and dealing with that. I have a real positive perspective, and I am blessed with friends like you, friends like I can't even begin to mention all the fabulous support and friends I have. And I have a beautiful wife, a great family. Those things are important, but not everybody has that right at their doorstep, right? You and I have great supportive families and friends.
Yes.
Not everybody has that. So what would you say to that person that's feeling just, really down, stuck in their situation, and like there really isn't a lot of hope? What would you say to them?
I would say know that you're not alone, that you're not the only person that's going through this. Whatever it is that you're going through, you're not the only person that's gone through it. And reach out to me, reach out to Russ, reach out to like the kind of resources there's also organizations, no matter what you're going through, like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So if you're a blood cancer patient or survivor, use Google, use other resources to reach out to organizations or individuals to try to be proactive in trying to find resources and organizations and people who might be able to help you. That that could go a long way.
Yeah, that is such a great advice. And, that's what we want to leave you with today in our time here with Tim. And that is there is always somebody to reach out to. There's always positive steps to take to pull yourself out of any situation. And there is a brighter day on the other side. Like my dad used to always say, tomorrow is a new day. And so there's
I love
always
that.
a positive direction to head. And so, encourage everybody to do that. Tim, thanks so much for being with us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Russ. Appreciate you too. Love.
Yes, Tim is such a great friend, and I appreciate him so much. He is gone through a lot of challenges in his life, but continues to help and care for others through all that he does. And so I want to jump right into my next guest and bring Kristi on because we had a fabulous discussion about all the things she's doing. Hi, Kristi.
Hey, Russ, this is so fun.
Yes. Well, a lot of times uh, caregivers or people that are really trying to lift up and help other people really themselves have a tough time. And I know that you do a lot of support in that area. And you've also dealt with some other challenges that, really is important to be surrounded by people that love you and a good community to support you through that. Give everybody just a little snapshot of who you are and what you're all about.
Oh, well, absolutely. So I started this nonprofit about 4 or 5 years ago after having the long journey of supporting my brother who lived with anxiety, depression, and obsessive compulsive disorder. And he lost his battle with mental illness to suicide. And through that experience of supporting someone, being their emotional and mental support person, we learned a lot, my family and I, about supporting someone with mental illness and realized that no one should take that journey alone. And that goes for any caregiver to someone living with serious illness of any kind. And we thought there surely was another organization out there with the heart for caregivers, because we know now that if you don't take care of yourself, that the stress of caregiving is literally killing caregivers. It's taking 10 years off their life. So we're here as a nonprofit. We launched in Northeast Ohio. We now support caregivers throughout North America, and have an immense privilege of hearing caregivers' stories and walking alongside them and their journeys. The pandemic really pushed us virtually. And so now we can support those caregivers virtually through our programs. Who knew when I launched this that I would ultimately be supporting a son who had a horrific accident, leaving him with a severe traumatic brain injury. And so we're right back in the active caregiving seat. I'm also a sandwich generation, supporting 2 aging parents with their needs as well. So we're caring for a lot of people over here. And I'm so glad we were connected, and that great conversation really led to our conference where we were talking about this concept of getting unstuck, because what we've noticed through the pandemic is everyone who calls, while we're in the caregiver burnout prevention business, everyone who calls is already there and they're just stuck is the word I kept giving it. Adam Grant wrote a really great article for the New York Times midway through the pandemic. And it really put a word around some of what we were all feeling, and that was languishing. And it became like the word of 21. And it's a behavioral health term. And it's basically this concept of, blah, meh, but I really call it stuck. And it's like walking through Jello, as my colleague would say. And it's really hard to walk through Jello, right? And so how do we get those people who are so stuck to move forward towards the life that they desire, the life that they choose? And I love that Tim chose to talk about community and all that support that it takes. And I love that you talked about hope, because I think hope is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are talking about getting unstuck.
Yeah. And, I think that, it's so important getting yourself surrounded by the right kind of people, whatever you're going through. And we have a doctor with us today. I know her a little bit. She's my little sis, Dr. Nupi. How's it going, Dr. Nupi?
Hi, Russ. Hi, Kristi.
Hi, Dr. Nupi.
Hi. I'm so sorry to hear about your brother. I was I was just listening to everything, and it's just, it's so, it touches people's lives in such a way. And I love this discussion, to be honest. So thank you so much, Russ, for having me on. I really appreciate it. This is everything, I guess, how I practice medicine, how I care for my patients and clients, is about understanding your whole self-health needs, and importantly, how to rebalance and reconnect to that. And it's so important, especially if you're in a caregiving role, whether you're being the patient or the client, it's physician even. And I think there are simple steps you can take, and we'll obviously come through this, but yeah, this is my passion essentially. And I'm just really, really pleased to hear everything, what we're actually talking about it. That's one of the first things. Let's make it a normal conversation and raise awareness.
I think that's so important, because I think that unless we have the conversation, unless we raise awareness, unless we let people know they're not alone, and there's people to go to, people get isolated. They feel isolated. That's where they deal, and especially if they're dealing with depression, anxiety, all kinds of things. It can lead to so many things, just all kinds of problems. Not to mention, the situation, Kristi, with your brother. I had a really good friend who his son, same situation, loving family around him even. And, even in that situation, it can be tough, right? But, when you're caring for people and you are just loving on your community, great things happen. And we're going to bring in my good friend, Baron Robison, next, who is the director of Kicking Cancer here in Oregon. And Baron is doing some amazing things for people that are going through cancer and their families. Baron, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you, Russ.
Good to see you too. We like your shirt. It was very nice. And so give everybody, now that I said a little bit about you, give everybody a little more information about you.
So I am the founder, executive director of a nonprofit in Oregon called Kicking Cancer. And, I love this discussion because I founded this 4 years ago with two objectives. One, to educate people on how to not get cancer. There are things that you can do to definitely, there's no guarantees in life, but you can at least do things to hopefully prevent it from happening. And so we're on a mission to educate people how to not get cancer. But in the meantime, people have cancer. And so we have created a massive support network for those that are in the fight with cancer. And Russ and I have worked together a couple different times here in Oregon with some really good friends and what they're going through. And, the amazing thing is when someone's going through any situation, and, Kristi, you brought up some things here, but whatever that situation is, if I had $1 million in the bank with our nonprofit, no one is going to turn down money. You can throw money and they'll take it. People need it. But you know what they need more than that? They need a community. They need people there with them when they're going through that fight. And Russ, you will vividly remember 2 years ago, we were able to step in, Russ and I were able to step in with some people here in Oregon to support a good friend of ours who had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And monetary she didn't need the money. I mean, again, no one's going to turn it down, but she didn't need the money. But as COVID began to ramp up and our governor began to shut everything down, every idea that Russ and I came up with, we couldn't do. And so it was really cool. We organized a drive-by, and I remember Russ and I met there at this high school parking lot, and 30 cars lined up, and we drove past this gal's house. We kept our social distance, but her community showed her the love she needed. And a month later, she sent me a text that she had kicked cancer in the ass so hard she didn't need radiation. Yeah. So I said the ass word. So I said the ass word, Russ. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I forgive you. I have to watch Nupi all the time too. What I really love about this person that we're talking about, this friend of ours who's dealing with this, she is a person, because of the community and the family around her and because of her attitude, has really kept herself moving and has beat cancer several times, is dealing with it again, and in a situation that's rough. But she keeps such a positive attitude. And I think what's so important, and Kristi, I'll bounce back to you, is I think what's so important is, through the challenges we have in life, we weren't promised a smooth sailing through this life. We're going to have challenges, we're going to have troubles, right? But it's the attitude we keep through it, right? Because we get to choose. I mean, I am the live the life you choose guy, right? We get to live the life we choose. And people say to me all the time, I don't get to choose my life. You don't get to choose what happens to you. Yes, that is correct. But you do get to choose where you go from there. And I always say life happens and then you choose. Life happens and then you choose, because you get to choose that perspective and direction. After life maybe smacks you in the face, where do you go, Kristi?
Yeah, I mean, what do I do with that? I mean, I 100% agree. I think that throughout your whole life, we may not see that we have the choices in front of us. And it's about remembering what's in our control and what's out of our control. And very little is in our control. Those choices are in our control. What I do in my emotional response to you in that moment is in my control. Right. But the cancer, mental illness, any serious illness, not in my control. But how I choose to manage, you have to let go of a lot.
Yeah.
I think one of you all said it really starts with just noticing, right? It's that self-awareness. It's that self-awareness of where you are with that. And we just call that noticing, and then being present with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nupi?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was making notes earlier, and it's so much of if you think about when you're stuck, what is the underlying emotion? Is it fear? Is it worry? Is it anxiety? And it's really noticing and being in tune with those emotions, those feelings, as opposed to just blocking them away and pretending it's not happening, because that just, you push it down and it's just going to explode and bite you in the ass at some point. But noticing, oh, okay, I'm feeling whatever that emotion is, naming it. So you're almost taking a bit of its power away by doing so. And then you can really look at it. And it's being, as what you said, Kristi, it's about, I guess, staying present, which is really difficult when your mind is feeling all foggy and all clogged up. But using your breath to keep centered keeps your mindset and perspective more of in a respond mode, as opposed to makes it worse. And then I guess it's okay, reframing it. And that's how I say it: notice, name, and reframe. Okay, what else could this be? What else could I do? Who else could I have? Who else could I call upon to support me? And connection and community here is vital, because you can really draw energy, strength from those around you. And I think if you go beyond that as well, it's giving yourself permission and allowing yourself to accept that it's okay, this is going on right now. I'm going to draw on other people for support. And I think from my experience with patients, that's the hardest thing for people to accept, actually, because I'm a strong one and I've always done this, and it's a very stoical way to be. And, we would always share that burden with our caregivers specifically, because it is difficult and it takes its toll. And I think it's giving permission to self, and as a clinician, for example, or other people who are supporting, it's okay, we're here. And that's huge. That is so huge. It's just having that space, isn't it? Which is therapeutic in itself, actually.
Yeah. And Baron, you are a master of bringing a community together. When
Thank you.
did you? How did the whole idea of kicking cancer and supporting people going through that? How did that come about?
My sister was diagnosed with breast cancer in November of 2015. She lives in Arizona. She came to visit me in the latter part of 2017. It had gone metastatic, or has gone metastatic. But she fights it through positive attitude. She fights it with real food. She got all processed food out of her diet. She exercised every day. And I just decided that I wanted to help her. And so they have this thing here in Oregon. It's called a Warrior Dash. It's just a 3-mile trail run with a bunch of goofy, funny, wet, muddy obstacles. But at the time, I was working at Costco, and I told my friends about it. And we created a community of 42 people that didn't know my sister that showed up to do this crazy adventure. And I looked at her and I said, you know what you're doing to stay alive? We should share that. And that's how Kicking Cancer was formed, Russ. It was literally what she does to stay alive is what we're trying to instill. But, there was something that Nupi said, I think is just so critical. This friend that you and I keep talking about, she spent her whole life. When I met her, she was a giver in every aspect of this community, whether it be Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon. She was a giver. And she had already beaten cancer once. And when it came back the next time, it was much more serious. She had stage 4 lung cancer. And it was really hard to go from being the giver to the one who needed the help.
Yeah.
And so, I just started working with Russ and a few other friends. And I said, this girl needs us. And that's when we did the first event to help her. And it has come back, and she needs us again. So we're doing some things with Russ and I, and some friends doing some things. But I think the critical part you said is when you're so used to being the person who gives, it's hard to be the one who gets.
Yeah.
And you have to accept it when you have to get.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. One thing I think too about that, and then Nupi, I know you want to say something. I'll bounce to you next. It's interesting because I think it is hard, but it also is very wonderful and refreshing when you have been giving and you've been in community and trying to help other people, and you go through struggles, and then people gather around you. I think ultimately it lifts me up, and I can tell you my latest here in a week from tomorrow, I go in for surgery for skin cancer on my foot, and it's a big deal to me. I'll live through it, but it's going to take a lot of recovery, and it's a big deal. Anytime you have any kind of cancer, but the number of people that have gathered around me and offered prayers and love and support and all that has been overwhelming. And, really, that's what really keeps me. I'm a positive guy anyway, but that keeps me positive, and that keeps me moving, knowing that people really care. So Nupi?
Now, Russ, with cancer on your foot, you will be the epitome of kicking cancer, won't you?
I know. I'm the poster child now for kicking cancer.
Sorry to interrupt you, Nupi.
I never thought about that. That's really good.
Yeah, you're gonna be literally kicking cancer with it on your foot.
It's gonna hurt a lot while I'm kicking it, though. But yeah, anyway, Nupi, go ahead.
Oh, dear. It was just something that we were saying before about givers. So if you're used to providing a lot of support and giving, that's the first line thing that you do. I think it's very difficult sometimes to take a step back and accept that. And I think certainly, and I was sort of nodding my head a lot because I know that was one of the reasons I burnt out 12-ish years ago, because I was the giver and I wasn't aware that my needs weren't in balance, and nor was I speaking up or accepting any support or help. And I think healthcare professionals per se, physicians, are the worst at this, because you're used to being that person that you're caring for somebody else. And I think caregivers as well, actually. And again, it boils down to a sign of, am I being weak? I don't want to come across as being weak and I can't cope. And it's all I guess the voices or the narrative that you hold. And that's where the gentle challenge needs to come in and go, okay, it's okay. And it's almost, what would you say to somebody else, and try and keep yourself out of that perspective. But when it's you, it's difficult. And again, it's the people around you. I was in Funky Town a few weeks back, and I've only just come out of it. But it was really the support of people around me really truly helped. And it's incredible. It's very powerful. And it's almost just surrendering and going, okay, I can't do anything about this, but I can accept this for myself now. Right. And that helps you move through.
I agree. If I could add one thing, I think.
No, go ahead.
Everything you said, Dr. Nupi, is completely true. Professional and unpaid family caregivers are the ones who are in that position to care. So then accepting help is hard. I see a lot as well, and it starts with me, but we're horrible at identifying what we need.
Yeah.
When someone even says, hey, I want to help. And usually what most people say is, oh, well, gosh, so when you need me, just give me a call. Or if you need something, let me know. I can guarantee you, if you say it that way, no one is going to call you, right? So it starts with, it's almost like a grocery list, right? That you've got on your phone or on your fridge, but just keeping a list of all those little things that you need. And this is going to go for you too, Russ. So when you're not, you can't drive or you're recovering from your surgery, what do you need? And it shouldn't all fall on your family, but this is that chance for other people to love on you now. And so, but it starts with, what do you need? And it could just be, it could start with, gosh, I'm out of apples. Could you grab me 6 apples when you go to the grocery store next time, and just leave them on the front porch, because I'm really not in a place to talk to someone. So identifying what we need is really one of those first steps, because then we're ready. It's almost like you're planning. It's your plan.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I am the worst when people say, oh, I want to come help you. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I mean, I'm quick to say that. I'm going to be all good. I just have to sit there with my leg up, and I'm gonna, it's going to heal, and I'll be all right. And people are like, there was one gal at our church that she wanted to bring food, and she told me, I'm going to bring food. And I said, oh, we're fine. Leah and Kyla are going to be here, and my sister's coming over. No, I'm bringing food, she said, because they're already going to be taking care of you and doing things. They're going to need the food as much as you are. Exactly. And so, and what I loved about her is she's just like, she just didn't take it. She's like, no, and it's happening. So there you go. And that's what's happened with other people too, including my sister. I keep telling, I'm fine, sis, I'm fine. Nope, she's coming over. She's coming to the hospital. I said, you're just going to be sitting in the waiting room. I'm going to be there for you. It doesn't matter, and really deep down, as much as I'm just like, oh, you don't have to do that, it does really mean a lot. And I do know that people are there. And so, went through the whole struggle with my dad passing away over 5 years ago, and my mom had just passed away from Alzheimer's this last summer. But the number one thing, Kristi, that helped me was I actually, with the help of my beautiful wife, listened to people around me that were telling me what things I needed to do and what I should be considering. And part of that was where I got my parents in a really good community. And that way I could go love on them and be the son and not have to be the caregiver. And I actually had the day before my dad passed away, I had a caregiver, 20 years old, comes in to help along with the situation. I have the hospice nurse there. I have this 20-year-old caregiver. She says to me, I'm right there. And she goes, Mr. Hedge, it's okay. It's okay. Go sit down, relax. She goes, let us be the caregivers. You be the son. And you can love and support them, but just let us help you and take care of that. And I sat down and I thought, you know what? She is wise beyond her years. She was giving me permission. Take a deep breath. Relax. It's okay. We're here to help you. Let us do some of the caregiving, and you just love your parents. And I remember that to this day. That was amazing. The
What a
situation
gift.
with her and the hospice nurse. So
I
That
was
was a
just
gift.
about to say that. What a precious gift.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
memories as well. It protects that. And I think you can struggle with a lot of trauma as well afterwards. Say if you're caring and you miss out on spending that quality time because you're worried about trying to get everything in and you're frazzled and knackered and all of this. And I think that's such a beautiful gift. It really truly is. And that is not being not caring, nor are you being selfish. This is being very practical. It's being very self-aware, and actually you're protecting your time together is how I say it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Russ, and I think it's something that you said, Kristi, and I think it's actually what your organization does. But one of the programs that we built inside of Kicking Cancer, we call it Pathways. But when you think about any family who's got a cancer diagnosis, there's a lot of organizations out there that will help the person who has the diagnosis. There's a lot of breast cancer organizations. There's ones that'll transport to the hospital, but there's not anyone there to help the kids of the families affected by cancer. And so our Pathways program is actually designed where we bring volunteers in to work alongside the children and empower them to get past this place in life, so that whoever in the mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever, whoever's been diagnosed doesn't ripple around to the rest of the family. And I remember we did something with a mom had gotten bone cancer, and the oldest child was a sophomore in high school, and her grades were dropping from A to B to C. And so we came with volunteers and helped with homework. But, people forget how much trauma the caregivers in the house go through, right? Like the person's got cancer, and that's horrible. That's horrible. Yeah. But guess what? Everybody else in the house is affected too. And so we just wanted to create a program to empower those kids, and we just had a lot of fun with it.
That's so cool. That's amazing.
And we forget about the kids sometimes, right? Because we think, are they even paying attention? Are they noticing? But I know for my brother's family, his kids were his first caregivers. You wouldn't call a kid a caregiver, but those kids were his caregivers. Because, you learn very quickly how to behave in a family dealing with any serious illness, but you can be a caregiver as a child to a parent.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of stress to throw on a kid, whether it be a mental situation, whether it be cancer, whatever the situation is. The kids are worried. They're worried about mom. They're worried about dad, and they are going to step in at some point. And anything that we could do as Kicking Cancer can do as an organization to help them live through that situation too. And so that's why we created this program. And I love what you're doing, because it's caregivers get forgotten in all situations. They really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think some people are naturally, and I think all of you are this way, are naturally caring and want to give. And so you're natural caregivers to all that you're doing. And back to our original discussion, it does make it really hard because you think, well, no, my job is to take care of other people. I've got it all together. I can do this, And I think a few of you brought up is the fact that we just need to realize we have a lot of blind spots. Yeah. We have a lot of things we don't see. And what do we really need? And just like you're saying, Kristi, I mean, I've had so many people say to me, you just need to settle down and let us help. Right. And so I keep, I have a tough time dealing with that. But, it's the same thing when I talk to my doctor. I'm like, so how soon can I get up and get moving? I just want to get up and get moving. Right. And he's like, well, it depends if you want to mess everything up or not. But in your life, you just need to sit down and he told me, he said, get your things together. And when he said that, and we're talking with, it's a pretty good sized chunk of skin cancer. They're basically removing half of my instep and taking the other half of my instep, moving it over, and then bringing skin from the other part of my body down. So there's a lot of plastic surgery after. But he basically said, you just need to get your things in order. And I'm thinking, okay, that doesn't sound good. He goes, no, I mean about how you're going to survive, live, and work when you're sitting there not doing anything.
Exactly.
Let
And for
other
what-
people do it for you, right?
And for what it's worth, for what it's worth for us, getting up when the skin cancer is on your foot is not a good idea.
No.
You
So
need
you're-
to rest big time.
Great.
Yeah.
And I'll be checking in on you. There's no
Yeah.
way.
But here's the thing: what you've just described, and your professional caregiver, your doctor's advice, right? Is this? It's a forced stuck. You know, you're not someone who I would say is stuck right now, right? In what I know about you, but you're going to be in this forced stuck. And he's saying, we want you to think about this because it would be very easy for you, right, Dr. Nupi, for him to settle in. Depression could settle in very quickly if you're not careful. So how are you going to plan? How are you going to plan ahead and think about how you will not let yourself stay there for the long term, knowing that you still want to heal those feet?
Yeah.
It's tough.
And
It's
I'm
tough.
sure that Dr. Nupi can tell me the medical. I'm sure there's medical reasons for this, but I reference a book all the time. It's by Dr. Lorenzo Cohen. He has a PhD. He's at the MD Anderson in Texas, and he wrote a book, and he's got 6 things that you can do to live that anti-cancer life that we're talking about. And the number one thing of these 6, number one for him is support. You have to have a support system. And he talks in there about attitude. And there are chemicals, apparently there are chemicals that are released in your brain. And if you're negative, you have negative chemicals. And those negative chemicals then begin affecting your body. So the number one thing that you can do to fight any disease is a positive attitude. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Get unstuck, Russ. Positive
Absolutely.
attitude. That solves. Not that that's going to make your foot cancer go away, but negative attitude is not going to help it.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. There's neuroscience to back all of this. There is neuroscience behind hope. There is all of these things are what foster your well-being. And it's understanding the baseline needs and breaking it all down and being aware. So if you're going into something, so Russ, you're a positive person, you're up, you're about, you're always busy, you're doing stuff, and being aware already that, okay, I'm going to have this operation. I'm going to be having to sit for a while. I'm not going to be able to do my usual things. I know you're already planning, doing the live stream, producing my show, etc. Brilliant. But it's also then dealing with the whole mindset of, but I'm feeling okay in myself. I could just get up. Let me do it. And you sort of battle against that, and it's accept it. You're not allowed to go against doctor's orders because then your skin you won't heal. Your body needs the rest. And this is, I think if you know that from the outset, your expectation can be, I guess, kept realistic, to be honest, because the number of people I've spoken to who say, well, I'll be up in about 5 days. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to burst your bubble, but no, it's going to take longer. Because if you think 5 days and I'll be better and you're not, guess what? You're going to start beating yourself up and then thinking there's something wrong with me. Oh my goodness. What's wrong? I should be healing by now. And then this starts to mess with your head again. So it's going to take time. And it's tuning into your body, what your body is saying, and listening to it and not ignoring it, that's the trick.
Yeah.
I
think you both bring up something really important too that we incorporate into everything that caregivers don't always like, by the way. And it feels more therapeutic in nature, and that could be why, but we talk about SMART goals all the time.
Yeah.
And we modified all of our SMART goal plans in the pandemic to be micro goals. We focus on micro joys but everything being really small, these baby steps. And often, you just mentioned it, Baron, right? Often one of those first steps is just starting, but doing it with a baby step or a micro goal. And so we had to pivot in the pandemic. You have to pivot when you're facing some serious surgery to reframing how you look at those normal goals. Our capacity isn't the same as it once was. So how do we accept that?
Yeah.
Take it on little tiny baby steps at a time And sometimes it's just acknowledging that, reframing those expectations.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
talking to people around you, I think is crucial.
Yeah.
Because it can keep you sense checked, actually, because I know I'm terrible at this, that I will withdraw and go in on myself and just sort of get a bit stuck. Exactly what we're talking about, because I'm choosing to believe, oh, I should be able to do that. What's wrong with me? Because I'm used to being able to do this. Having said that, because I've gone through all of this before, I'm aware, but also then speaking helps immensely. Just sharing what it is you're feeling and knowing that you're held in a safe space is crucial. And that's so important. So Russ, if you have any problems, you can just text me.
Well, I think what you said, Kristi, and you echoed, Nupi, is exactly right. It's reframing your mindset, because I'm the kind of person that really, I'm very on purpose, very habitual and very structured, because I'm so unhabitual and unstructured as a natural person, right brain creative, fly by the seat of my pants. So that's my lifestyle. So I'm very, very, structured on how I do things. That's how I got through COVID. I continued my routine. I continued my structure, and I reframed my focus because I couldn't go anywhere. And so I was able to actually thrive through that because of what I did. So what I think you're saying to people out there, and what I'll need to be thinking about, is prepare, refocus, restructure your life based on your circumstances so you can remain unstuck and positive and move beyond your situation.
Yes, exactly.
Russ, can I just share the mindset of this gal you and I keep talking about? So she works for a baseball team in Corvallis, Oregon, and before her diagnosis, it was hard to find her, right, Russ? She's like everywhere in the stadium, deal with all kinds of stuff. When she first gets her diagnosis, I see her in 2021. She's moving slower because the cancer has got some of her lung capacity gone, but she's still busy, still doing her job. Well, now that it's come back, she has to have an oxygen tank with her all the time. Her lung capacity is completely gone. And I see her this summer, and she is still working. She's still much, much slower dragging this oxygen tank, but she's meandering through the crowd, thanking the season ticket holder for being here. And I think this goes to your Unstuck comment, Russ, because I looked at her and I said, why are you here? Why are you here? And she said, because this fills my cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joy.
Yeah, joy.
And that,
exactly.
Purpose
yeah,
and meaning.
and that's what she was able to do. That she was able to slow herself down, reframe what she was doing, but keep herself moving. And there's a way to do that, not overdo it, but keep yourself moving forward in what you can do. Because I think what that does for her is that continues to strengthen her. Not only is she able to get out and do a little something and stay productive in her mind, but also she's around the community and the people that support her, which I think helps a lot. So, hey, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let, yes. And so I'm going to let each one of you, we're wrapping up here our time. I'd love to keep talking. We could talk for hours on this, but we're going to start, Kristi, with you. And I want each of you to give your final thoughts on our subject for today. What do you want people to really remember what we talked about? And then let everybody know how to get a hold of you, because I know absolutely people are going to want to get in touch with you. So, Kristi, you're up first.
Keeping moving. And it takes courage. It takes courage to notice where you are. It takes courage to accept where you are. And it takes a lot of courage to say, I don't want to stay where I am, and to move forward with that courage, with gratitude, with appreciation, with your community and your support. And always keep your eye on the hope for the future. Anything's possible. And you can find us at couragetocaregivers.org. We're on all the socials, and we appreciate this opportunity, Russ. Thank you.
You bet. Well, I'm telling you, I appreciate you so much for being here All that information is magically appearing because of my amazing teammate Ever, who's putting that up there. And so that will be there, clickable, by the way, for everybody watching. You can go directly to Kristi or any of the guests. It's also in the show notes. So thank you for that. Nupi, you're up next.
So I would say self-compassion, be kind to yourself, and reach out. You're not alone. Those are the two things I would say.
Perfect. And Nupi, I know pretty much everybody knows how to get a
Oh,
hold of you, but
sorry,
just
I
in
forgot
case
about
they
that.
forgot.
I totally forgot about that. I was quite impressed. I stopped at 2 things and I was like, okay, that's it now. Okay, so you can find me here on LinkedIn, Dr. Nupi Arora, or just the Glitter Practitioner. I do a live stream show, which is produced by somebody called Russ Hedge, I think. That's every Monday at 8 o'clock BST, which is noon Pacific Daylight Time. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, I've got it. Those 3 social media platforms, all under the Glitter Practitioner. I think that's it. Yes, that's it.
All right. Perfect. Baron, you're up next.
There's a statement that I try to use quite often. I do have a radio show and a podcast. So if you just go to any of the podcast services, it's called Kicking Cancer Cares. And we just aired our 40th podcast. We have over 650 downloads. And so it's a way for us to tell stories. We have told this young lady's story, Jennifer Beaumont's story. But I say there's a lot of things in life that are hard, right? There's a lot of things that are hard. And sometimes you just have to choose your heart. Choose which thing is harder. And for me personally, about 5 years ago, my plantar fasciitis was completely out of control. It was really difficult, really painful to walk. And I remember sitting down on a bench with my grandson, and I said, I refuse to be that grandpa. I'm not going to be the guy on the bench watch my grandson play. So is it hard to go through the treatment for plantar? Yeah, it's painful. It's hard. You know what's harder? Sitting on the bench watching my grandson play. That's harder. So choose your heart, guys. Just choose your heart, and then decide which one you want. And then don't get stuck in life. Just move forward. So our website is kicking-cancer.org. My email is on there. There's a spot that says request help, get involved. And if you really can't find me, then just go to social media and do hashtag Russ Walks. Right, Russ Walks with a hashtag, and I guarantee you Russ will find me.
Well, that's for sure. And I don't know how many of those that you put up there, Baron, but there's a lot of Russ Rocks out there for sure. And now we use Baron Rocks too. So that's all good. But listen, I want to thank you, Baron, and I want to thank all of you so much for being here today. And again, everybody watching, please reach out to them. Please get in touch with them and contact them. It's all clickable. It's all easy. And we will continue this discussion again another time. You've all been amazing. So we're going to have to go with the part 2 on this one for another time. So thanks again. I'm going to say goodbye, but hang tight in the green room for just a second as I wrap the show up. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank
you, Russ.
Thanks, everyone.
Now, if I can just move everybody out. There we go. Slow but sure. Hey, listen, thank you. Thank you, all of you watching today. What an amazing discussion this was, but what an amazing community that we have. Whether you're watching live or on replay, please share this out because this is important, an important discussion to have. We all need community. We all need support. We're all going to go through situations that times feel stuck. And there's a way to move out of that. And that's through support and community and working together. So I always say we are better together. And I am here for you at russhedge.com. If you ever need me, russhedge.com is a way to get in touch with me. And all of their links are in the show notes as well. And so I just wanted to, again, thank you all for being here. We're going to wrap things up for today. And until we see you again, have a great day and a great life. Thanks, everybody, for being here. All right. Bye-bye.